In this tutorial, we will create a simple spreadsheet that we can use to build a cost estimate. So here I am in Microsoft Excel. This is the desktop version. Some of the commands that we'll do may be slightly different if you're using an online version or if you're using something like Google Sheets or Numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line for the division. I'm just type that out and use the underscore key here. And let me make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to change the font a little bit. Maybe I'll make that bold. And then I'll skip a line, and underneath I will put project and name. And then I'm going to skip a couple of lines, and I'm going to start the different cells, or the columns that I need. So the first one is going to be description. This will be the description of the materials that I need. For example, 2x4s or shingles or tile. So that's description. Next one is going to be QTO, so our quantity takeoff. The next one is waste factor. And then purchase quantity, unit, crew, productivity rate. And you notice, for example, here in our purchase quantity, some of it's cut off. I'm going to go back and readjust the columns here in just a minute. So we have productivity rate, let's see, wage rate, work hours, labor, material, equipment. Then I'm going to do this again. Total, then vendor, and notes. Okay, so I have all of the columns identified. I'm going to go ahead and make those bold, and I'm going to put those in the center. And I'm going to make those bold. All right, so description, I want to leave myself quite a bit of room for that. Maybe even a little bit more. QTO looks okay. I think what I'll do, so if I select all three of these and I move one of them, they should all update the same. So for something like this, I think what I'll do is hit wrap text. And in fact, why don't I select them all and I'll hit wrap text. There we go. So those are 10. So I think these can also be 10. Certainly this one needs to be bigger. So I think I can make all of these 10. Let's get over a little bit. Labor, I can do the same thing for these, and I can adjust these as I go if I need to. It just gets me started. The vendor, I'm going to leave a lot more room there, and then notes, I will do the same thing. In fact, I'm going to move over just a little bit more. Okay, so I've got all of my columns. Don't need to wrap that text. Okay, so what I want to do now is to put a border around. So I'm going to go down just a couple. I don't need to get too crazy here. If I don't use them, I'm going to delete those rows. So let me go right click. I'm going to go to Format Cells, and I'm going to put a border. And I'm going to put one on the inside as well as the outside. For the outside, I'm going to be a little bit thicker. Let's take a look at that. That looks pretty good. Now the one thing I want to do is I want to take this first grouping of labor, materials, and equipment. I'm going to click Merge and Center, and this is going to be my unit costs. Let me click bold on that. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to create another border that's going to be more bold. So again, right click, Format Cells, and I want to select this one. Click OK. That looks pretty good. Let me adjust what we can see here. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Looks pretty good. Maybe I'll make this a little bit longer so it matches the project name. That's good. And I want a grand total right here. I'm going to right justify that, and I can put a line under there, or I can just put a border on the bottom of that cell. So let me do that. Right click, Format Cells, put one right there, and I'm going to make that a little bit wider in anticipation for larger dollar amounts. Okay. So there I've created a simple spreadsheet that we can use. One thing that I would suggest is I'm going to make sure that this fits on one sheet. What I don't want is when I go to print this for it to be on multiple sheets. It's often very hard to read. So let me go to File. I'm going to go to Print. Now I'm not going to print anything, but you can see how it looks here. I would print it out. It's very hard to track everything. So I'm going to select Landscape Orientation, and I'm going to fit sheet on one page. Now some of the things don't show up, the borders. That's just a graphics card issue, but when you print it, it will work just fine. So I'm going to go back, and I can save this, and I should be ready to go.